there's no reason why we can't look at appraising and break down some of the components so that we can manufacture different parts of the process more efficiently.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
And welcome. This is the Appraiser Coach Podcast. My name is Dustin Harris. Sitting down at the mic, you're going to hear a little ambient noise in the background today because I am at the 2017 Fall Valuation Expo in Las Vegas, Nevada. I had a bit of a rocky start. As you know, on the news, the Sunday night before the conference started was the shooting, the massacre here in Las Vegas. I was here during that process, not close, about a mile away, locked down in the hotel room. Quite a somber tone and a start to this conference, but it's been a great conference. And lots of people sharing great information. Going to sit down with a very smart man here in just a few minutes. Can't wait to introduce him. But first, want to remind you that we are sponsored by three great companies. First of all, Alamode. Alamode is the software that I use and I have used for 20 plus years. You need to check them out by going to alamode.com or calling them at 800-ALAMODE. Also sponsored by DataMaster, which happens to have a booth just across the way from me. I had an opportunity to visit with them, and you should as well. Go to datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. Go to datamasterfreetrial.com/coach to learn more. Finally, we are sponsored by Working RE Magazine. Working RE is also here, not in the capacity of a booth, but David Bronner, the editor of Working RE Magazine, has been wandering the showroom floor, and I've had an opportunity to rub shoulders with him. Great company, great people who understand the appraisal industry. You should check them out. It's workingre.com. All right, folks, here at Valuation Expo 2017 in Las Vegas, sitting down with Mr. Michael Simmons of Axis. Mike, welcome back to the microphone.
Thank you, Dustin. It's good to be back.
Well, good. It's always good to see you and talk industry talk. Last time you were on, about a year ago, I guess, when we were here in Vegas, we talked a little bit about some of the things that are happening with the industry. Talk to me about your perception now. Have things changed as far as your outlook on where the appraisal profession is going?
So I think the answer to that is I'm more committed than ever to helping appraisers develop skills to be able to compete in the marketplace than before. I think lenders and the GSEs have developed tools to supplant some of our standard appraisals, and I hate to see appraisers...
Or skipping them completely.
And I hate to see that opportunity for orders lost.
Okay. So some would say, well, come on, Michael, you're just an AMC. Why do you care about appraisers?
Well, I come from a long line of appraisers, so I have a deep and abiding affection for them. But more than that, I think appraisers are basically the only entity in the entire lending process that's charged with protecting the public trust.
Okay.
And that's a core value, and I believe in that.
Right, because most people involved in that process have a bias, and by definition, an appraiser is supposed to be an unbiased third party, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, good. So with the advent, if you will, or even the push for new technologies and things that are happening, have things changed in a year, or are we still headed down the same path that you predicted a year ago?
So I think we're still headed down that path. I think both Fannie and Freddie have increased, although not to the degree that most people suspect, but I think they've increased the use of property inspection waivers, and that comes from pressure, frankly, from lenders.
Faster, quicker.
Faster and quicker. The advent of the digital mortgage, which, frankly, I think is going to work to eliminate a lot of originators in the industry too, because if you're going to do something in 10 to 12 days, it's not as if you're out cultivating clients. You're just taking orders, and they don't need an originator to take orders.
Right.
But that piece of business also requires some kind of collateral support. It's ideal for property inspection waivers because they can happen instantaneously and they really don't cost anything. $75 to pay somebody to drive by to see whether or not the algorithm correctly picked the right house or to confirm that it's actually existing, but that's about the only fee.
Okay. So what's an appraiser to do? That sounds kind of scary. What's my job going to look like in the future?
So one of the things that's happened in the industry is that every aspect of our industry has re-engineered itself. It's taken advantage of technology. Today, in lending, you don't need to copy your W-2s. You don't need to provide a pay stub. You don't need to get bank statements because all that information is, under certain circumstances, available online.
Yeah.
Right?
Some would say unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. But the fact is, a lender can round that information up in a matter of hours. There's no reason why we can't look at appraising and break down some of the components so that we can manufacture different parts of the process more efficiently.
Okay.
And the one ideal way to start with is the inspection piece.
Okay.
So a year ago, we talked about initiating a training program for trainees.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was misunderstood, and maybe I wasn't as clear as I might have been. But the truth is, we wanted to help take some of the load off of supervising appraisers by giving them a roadmap, how to train a trainee that would meet with a lender acceptance, meet with their investor acceptance, meet with regulators acceptance, not replace any existing rules, but really be an overlay and an augmentation of how the rules are today. This is nothing new. This has always been around. Every appraiser went through some mentorship program at one time or another. As I like to tell people, they didn't sprout from the soft, moist earth like a mushroom and into full flower as an appraiser. They had to be mentored.
Right.
So we just want to help with that. We're not going to own the trainees.
This was where the confusion came in. And I think, to be fair, the confusion came in from where the source of the information. In other words, it's no secret. Appraisers sometimes get a bit of a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to AMCs. They have historically, some, been paying low, expecting high, revision requests are relentless, scope of work is getting longer and longer and longer. These engagement letters are several pages long at times, and rightfully so, appraisers get a little bit of their backup. And here's Michael Simmons from an AMC saying, I want to help train the new generation of appraisers. You understand the concern.
I do.
Okay, so let's address that. Let's talk about where the confusion came in and what you want to see going forward.
So let me change the narrative a little bit. What we want to do is we want to support a supervising appraiser in their efforts to train trainees. What does that mean? Well, it means giving them a list of all of the things that criteria that they need, the different elements of appraising that they need to address and capture in a log that fits a standard format so that whether a lender looks at an appraiser in Maine or in California, they see a consistent way of ascertaining what the history of that trainee was. Developing a standardized test that captures their ability to demonstrate that they recognize the different elements of a property and know how to capture those in an effective way in a training exercise. We even created modules, short videos, where we walked through houses, different types of houses, pointed out different elements of the houses. Now, that's not to replace on-site visits. That's merely to prepare somebody who maybe has never seen that type of a house and doesn't know what they're looking at.
So let's talk about that, because I think that is some of the confusion.
Sure.
What some heard from that interview, and shame on me for not following up as far as maybe asking additional questions, because I think I understood what you were saying, but there was some confusion out there. Well, one of the accusations was thrown around that these, pardon the pun, but damn AMCs are trying to circumvent the mentor process. They're trying to take a set of 30 wannabe appraisers, put them in a room, teach them from a chalkboard or a smart board or a video or a YouTube, and then send them out to appraise properties. That's not what you were saying.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mentor is still a big part of the process, in your opinion.
It's the core of the process. Yeah. And all of these relationships between an appraiser and their trainee will be developed between them. We're merely handing them a textbook to help guide them in that process. So
part of the education process.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Now, we have there's a website where a trainee can log in and say, I want to be a trainee. I live in this area. They answer a few questions. Supervising appraisers that operate in that area who are interested in having a trainee can look on those websites. They can log in, say that they're interested in doing that. We don't have anything to do with that. We don't match them up. This isn't date.com. But they pick and choose among themselves, because working together in a mentoring relationship, that's a close relationship. Right, and the only two people that can make any decision about that are the people that can work out that relationship.
Right. This is just utilizing the power of technology, the information age, and allowing someone to say, hey, I want to be trained. Someone else to say, hey, I happen to be looking for someone to train, and starting that relationship. But the relationship itself is not processed through an AMC or the training program.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's still that mentoring process that we're looking at.
So the next part of that question is, well, what do we expect to gain from that? So first of all,
I'm glad you asked it. I think that's a great question to ask, because part of the confusion is we're talking AMC here. We're talking somebody who's part of the CRN. We're talking somebody who is in the know, that understands regulations, that understands the industry in and of itself. What's this guy really out doing here?
So to answer that, let me tell you what our goal is. Our goal is to assist the industry in becoming more competitive, more technologically savvy, more responsive, and to continue to serve the public and continue to make their business more successful.
And I think, Michael, this is a great time to pause and remind the listeners that we are sponsored by three great companies. Of course, DataMaster is one of them. DataMaster has a booth here. They showed me their new DataMaster that they've rolled out in about 50% of their market share, and it is amazing. Folks, I'm telling you, DataMaster 1.0 was amazing. DataMaster 2.0 will blow your socks off. The amount of things that it can do is absolutely incredible, amazing. Check it out, folks. Even if you only have access to the 1.0, it's still well worth the investment. But I'll tell you, if you have access to this new program, it is insane, absolutely incredible what it can do. Go to datamasterfreetrial.com/coach for more information. Again, it's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. We are sponsored, of course, by Alamode Software. Folks, I've had an opportunity to walk up and down and look at different software here at the Valuation Expo. And folks, let's face it, there's a lot of really good appraisal software out there, and it does the job that you need done. You got a lot of choices, folks. Why is it that I stick with Alamode? Alamode is the software that I've been using for over 20 years because it is the leader in the appraisal software industry. Why? Because it gives you tools and gives you the ability to do more with less. I love the fact that I have so many options when it comes to my appraisal software. It's Alamode. You can try them out by checking out their website. First of all, go to alamode.com, or you can call them. Pick up the phone, folks. These are real people who will answer your questions and get you started on the right foot. Call them on the phone. It's 800-ALAMODE, 800-ALAMODE. Finally, we are sponsored, of course, by Working RE Magazine. Working RE is the place that I go on a regular basis to find out what's going on in the appraisal industry. David Bronner is here. Why is he here? Because it's the Valuation Expo, folks. It's where you're learning about the appraisal profession. And David is here with his nose in everything. Why? Because he is right on top of what's going on in the appraisal profession at Working RE Magazine. Folks, if you're not signed up for their free email, you need to sign up for their free email. Folks, let me repeat that. Sign up for Working RE's free email. Get on workingre.com, put your email address in there, and you will be amazed at the amount of information that comes your direction. Yes, they do advertise on a regular basis. Fine. If you're interested, click on it. If you're not, don't. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is that you are right on top of what's going on in the appraisal industry, and workingre.com will allow you to do that. welcome back, folks. We are sitting down here with Michael Simmons of Axis. He's talking to us about the industry, about the appraisal industry. And Michael, you were starting to say, where we're going as an appraisal industry. Let's get into that a little bit more.
All of those things considered, that doesn't mean that we won't benefit too, because we'll have better trained appraisers who are better able to execute orders in a more consistent time. We'll be able to compete against something that's free and instantaneous. Because we'll have trainees that'll be able to do an inspection for their supervisor in 48 hours, and the supervisor will be able to sit down and do the analysis in another 24 hours without changing their world, still having the quality of their life, increasing the capacity of what they can do.
Still getting paid for what they do.
And still getting paid for what they do.
Right.
And now, all of a sudden, they put themselves in a position where they can deliver a report, let's just say it's in 4 days. And if you've got an automated valuation model that can do it instantaneously, you're not going to beat that. But 4 days will match even a digital mortgage. It'll even match a digital mortgage's timeline. So that makes an appraiser competitive. Now, the fact is, we're not just doing this for Axis. We may have built the inspection model, but we built it within the goal of the AMC committee at CRN. And in our last meeting, just 2 days ago, we opened it up to any AMC that wanted to continue to contribute and help us build out the rest of the training programs. They could use it for free. And we want them to use it. We want them to help create more trainees. We want them to help get more lenders who will accept that, because frankly, it'll mean more business for the industry as a whole. So not only are we not charging anybody for it, but we're going to give it away for free.
What does the appraisal profession look like in 36 months?
So I think what's going to happen in 36 months is that we're going to gravitate more towards the science of appraising than the art part of appraising. I think in order to be effective and in order to compete and in order to produce the kind of reports that are as strong as they need to be, you're going to have to know more and employ more technology.
Okay. Big data?
Well, I need to make a distinction here because I think this gets lost, and it's the fault of the industry, it's the fault of the technology companies, fault of the lenders. Big data is the foundation for information.
Sure.
And information is the fertile ground from which knowledge comes.
Right.
And it's knowledge that's important. And frankly, I don't know that technology produces knowledge. I think people produce knowledge. I think they sort and filter and assess that.
So when you, just to clarify, when you say it's leaning more toward the science side than it is the art side, you're not advocating getting rid of the art side, because we might as well just have AVMs, we might as well just have computer programs because they can do the science.
Well, I might argue with you that they really can do the science. In fact, I argue with the GSEs about this all the time. They think that they have enough data that they can actually do a better job than an appraiser 90% of the time.
No, I heard it. I heard it yesterday. Yeah, or this morning.
Yeah.
Right.
So first of all, it's always that 10% that's most problematical. But if you abandon the other 90% and don't allow an appraiser to contribute and to participate and to earn a living there, you won't have that 10% for them to solve. But the truth is, and I'll give you a perfect example. I was in a meeting with some members from one of the GSEs. The example was a relocation appraiser, 2 top-level appraisers. Both did a report on a home. Not for sale yet, no price. They came within a couple of $1,000s of each other.
Sounds pretty good.
Almost no difference. But the difference was that they placed different emphasis on some of the other elements. A casita, a pool, that had a greater weight towards the value, in one appraiser's opinion, than some of the other appointments in the house or location, whatever it was. There were distinguishing differences in how they reached their conclusion. But the conclusion was the same. The response from the GSE was, well, we found that very off-putting, and we questioned the validity of both appraisers, because they may have arrived at a similar number, but they did it a different way. Okay. And my response to that was, well, perhaps your bias is wrong. maybe what they did is they each reflected a portion of the market demand that's recognized by different segments of the buying public. And maybe they did it so well that they actually were able to arrive at a consensus value for that property. I don't think analytics can do that. Right? But I think humans can.
Right.
And frankly, I think I'm right.
It's that gut part, right?
That's correct.
So appraisers are now coming to me and saying, Dustin, I don't think appraisers are going away because computers don't have feels. They don't have emotion. They don't have guts. And let's face it, Michael, the housing market, just like any market, is emotional. It's emotional first. And what happens second is the data follows. In other words, we make decisions with our heart, and then we justify those decisions.
That's right. And we still have the basic conflict that appraisals are designed to reflect a value. They don't capture that worth piece. So appraisers are designed to capture value. They're not designed to identify risk.
Okay? Right, and which is the whole purpose of the appraisal.
That's correct. But that's also the function of what happens in review. So as a lender reviews a property, they look for risk elements. And I think it's one of the reasons why technology can be an appraiser's best friend, because they can help quantify what the risks are based on certain elements in an appraisal, based on data that's showing up in the general market trends, and yet give the appraiser the opportunity to respond to it. I think moving forward, we're going to see appraisers doing more, becoming more analysts than we are just certainly box checkers or just trying to capture, regurgitate information. Analytics can do that. I think appraisers have the capacity to do more, and I think they also have the ability to continue to support the idea from the borrowing public that there is an independent voice protecting their interests. Lenders and investors don't talk about the fact that appraisals aren't designed to support a borrower's investment. They're merely designed to analyze whether or not there's enough safety factor in protecting the loan.
Right.
That's all they're designed to do. Appraisers, when they deliver a report, speak directly to a borrower to identify whether or not there's sufficient value, whether they're making a decision that their commitment and their investment reflects what their goal is, to own that house and to have equity in it. Algorithms don't do that at all.
Yeah. You've painted a good picture of where we have come, where we're going. I think you're probably accurate in your predictions. Let's say an appraiser like myself, I've been doing this 20 years, comes to you, Michael, who you've been in this profession for a long time. You are wise, you understand what's happening. And I said, Michael, if you could give me one piece of advice based on where we're going as a profession, what would that advice to someone like me be?
Well, I think that advice would be participate in as many organizations as you can. Try and improve and increase your depth of knowledge of the business. Find a voice and show up every day. I think one of the things that we do is, and it's not just appraisers, it's all of us in life, we get overwhelmed with the forces that are aligned against us. And I don't think we need to do that.
Oh.
I think we need to just keep showing up and always working at improving in what we do. Life is a series of evolutionary events. We have to participate in the evolution, right? So that's just what we do.
And there's a future for an appraiser.
There is definitely a future. In fact, I think the future for appraising is actually greater than it's ever been. I think the opportunities
Quite a statement.
are going to be more diverse, but you have to be willing to embrace them. That's what you have to do.
Michael Simmons, Axis, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dustin. Always good to see you.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
All right. That should be a full episode. Thank you.